get into Gate, another special midweek mailbag. I mean, demands came in after the first episode a few weeks ago. They said, more mailbag.
One of the best, they said.
It actually,
one of the best.
Yeah.
That's what we said.
No.
It became real meta. We got more mail about how good our mailbag show was.
And one mail in particular.
Well, yeah, it's our first hate mail.
The alpha.
It's our first hate mail, guys. And I say hate
Hang on,
because...
what?
No, whoa, mate, we're doing that
No,
later.
I'm teasing it.
Yeah, good. You need to tease.
Fucking hell.
Because we'll tease it in the Facebook post as well.
How long have you been in radio for?
Come on, mate.
It's a radio podcast, mate.
It's time for the Get Into Gate Harry Mailbag
Special.
Nicely done. I forgot what we did, so I'm glad
There
you
you
guys
go.
filled in the...
Mate, we have one tune that applies to everything.
That's true.
Go with
That's
it.
so true.
Standard.
Are we
All
going to
right.
address the elephant in the room?
Lincoln.
Yeah, he's still
Yeah,
here.
put your pants back on, mate.
I like to be free, man. I like to be free.
2 in a row.
Yeah, yo, beauty.
Stop it.
Boom.
Oh, I should start paying rent, boys.
Clearly,
Yeah.
not a lot on for you this week, then, eh? Just,
mate, it's always on when it
just
involves you.
girlfriend's got plans, does she?
She's got plans.
Yeah,
She got
just trying
plans.
to.
We have got plenty in the Harry Mailbag
God,
since last time we've had it.
I want to know about this. What is going on? I've been hearing quite a bit of chatter about this. So
Yeah, look,
fill me in.
there's the usual love and acceptance that we've got, but there's something
Legends.
heat. There's something full of heat in the mailbag,
Oh,
Brendan.
God, yeah.
Emanating.
I want to
off it.
say it's about time that we got some hate mail. And God, it's about time.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't earlier, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I say hate because it has the word hate in it.
Well, that's fair enough then.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
But anyway, stay tuned for that.
Mm.
And by tuned, I mean just keep listening.
Yeah.
Don't change the radio station.
It was a great hook, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, let's. Are you on our side or are you? Low pitch is back.
Oh, let's hope not.
So I think we should just start where we usually start. That's with a couple of reviews, eh?
Yeah, God, yeah. So my subscription thing that I got 4 5-star reviews. And that-
Boom.
Oh, that's like 20 stars.
Good gear, bro.
I got one here. It's all right. 5-star review here from Holly Munnery. Holly from Lonnie.
Competition winner.
Yeah, Patreon competition winner.
Yeah, Holly won our locket. Is that
She
what we're
did.
calling it?
We've put a little special something inside the locket that we're going to wait. We're not going to reveal what it is.
Matty, that sounds oddly suspicious.
That is the only one that's handled this, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a little surprise in there for Holly, but we're going to let her discover it first, and then once she's seen it, then we'll post it on socials of what we've put inside the locket.
If you don't see it on the news that night.
Yeah. So this
She does work for Channel 9.
it's good that Link's here for this one because he was here when we spoke about this podcast. So Holly's written in her review 5 stars. If you ever wanted to know what happens when you poo through the Stargate, this is the podcast for you.
Yes!
Absolutely. Yeah.
I thought about this.
That has got a
And that's-
lot
We
of
spoke
traction.
about it
Yeah.
for several minutes.
No, look,
Pretty much
no,
what we're
but that's
famous
the,
for,
the-
really.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I've had many thoughts about different. Yeah. Anyway, it's like
Oh, mate,
the things that you could toss through a Stargate is just
The fans have gone nuts for it. Like the
Yeah.
amount of like messages and stuff like that, and Facebook posts we've gotten about shitting through the Stargate is. I'm genuinely
It's not even
surprised.
shit.
I'm not.
Well, I've got an iTunes review from the UK. You're
right.
right.
You're right.
You're right. Now I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but it's 2018, so we can't assume gender. But their username is "You call yourself a pirate?" Question mark. And they said,
God, I hope they're from the north.
they said from the first podcast I couldn't stop listening.
No.
An awesome
Are
group
we
of
doing this?
An awesome group of brothers and friends who share an appreciation for Stargate. What's not to like? Sit back, relax, and then get ready for non-stop gate-jumping laughs.
I didn't understand a word you said.
So I've got a little message on Twitter here from Sarah Bell. Okay, so what happens when you boys miss a Star Trek reference brought up by Maddie? Last ep, which was Scorched Earth, Maddie quoted TNG Picard?
Card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one bitch.
Well, if you guys don't pick it up, I did at that point. I think I said the line must be drawn here this far no further, which is a reference. But it's also the third thing we play when I've done 3 references.
Oh, you went meta on us.
Well,
how
Sarah,
dare
See?
you?
That's the beautiful thing is like I've actually snuck a few in that you guys haven't recognised because I haven't made it blatantly obvious. But
yeah, I'll tell you why you haven't made it blatantly obvious. Well, Sarah Bell will tell you. She went and compared it with the original quote, and you misquoted it. Ooh! Sarah Bell says, what kind of Star Trek fan is he anyway?
What did I misquote? There's 2 quote versions of it. There's the Picard version and the Quark version. So,
There's so much pride here.
you know,
There's so much on the line.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Twitter's a big box of hate, but no.
Well, don't say it.
Don't ever say it.
No one's.
No, well,
Glad you've never said it.
Sarah, send us a thing. Was it the line must be? I'm assuming it was the line must be drawn here quote. But if it was something else,
I
let me know.
think from my memory, it was the Quark one. Quarks? Quacky?
Well, Mitch, if you played my that's 3.
AKA.
Your 3 is...
So you might want to.
The line has to be drawn here. This far and no further.
Right, so Quark says the line has to be drawn here, and Picard says the line must be drawn here. I'm fairly certain.
See, I see.
The line must be drawn here.
See?
This far, no further.
Oh, that's just.
Right.
Isn't that just pure silk out of his mouth?
That one was in the reboot, so is that the one you love?
Glorious.
That's not the reboot. But if you listen to this, so Picard says the line must be drawn here. Quark says the line has to be drawn
This
here.
is a box of shame.
They're
Please.
both valid. Suck a dick,
I
boys.
think
Don't
Rick-
question my Star Trek knowledge. I'm Pickle Rick.
I'm not-
Pickle Rick.
I'm not,
I'm Pickle Rick.
I'm not sure you can be proud of that.
He's using Rick and Morty against them.
I'm Pickle Rick. Get swifty. Suck my left nut, Morty.
He's been watching.
Wow.
Of all the accents you've ever done, that's the worst.
There was no accent there.
You can say that again.
Jeez.
But no, thank you, Sarah. No, it's good to talk to someone who actually knows their Star Trek, unlike these 4 idiots.
All right, on the
Settle
Jesus,
down.
while we're bagging out, Matty, I just got
Okay, no, bring it on. I mean, I've diffused your first one, so bring on the next one.
wasn't mine, but yeah. Anyway,
Oh, well, actually, this is one that's caused absolute outrage, especially on Patreon.
on
Okay,
every
all right.
social media outlet there is.
And if-
Righto.
Divide and Conquer is the episode.
And look, if we wanted to bring it up, I'm sure we could. We just haven't.
We just haven't. We
Haven't
let
done any,
we let the fans
research.
do it. Look,
Okay, bring it on.
well, first of all, Damo Edwards writes to us and he says, this is just a side note. A couple of quick things about this episode. Do the Tok'ra have the same calendar as us? Because they mentioned what days suit for the summit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they have Wednesday through Friday on the second summer.
Their
That's
leap
what they-
year
that's what
has
they've
4
got.
extra days.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And
Don't forget Joel and our day.
public holiday now.
Oh, God.
And he says, and sorry, Matty, but Janet and Tilk were definitely present in the viewing room when O'Neill and Carter were retested and admitted they had feelings for each other more than they are supposed to.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I went back and watched.
Go back to the tape, mate.
Well, it's funny you say
Go back
that.
and fucking watch it, mate.
Wasn't there another one though? Get the other one out first, because wasn't there another one?
Nah.
There's a couple more.
Yeah. Well, no, there's one in particular that I've seen that I want to address as well. So read the other ones out about it.
Toasty, Melissa Alba.
Yeah.
She says, just did a rewatch, and yep, both Janet and Tilk were present in the viewing room when Jack and Sam admitted their feelings. So, sorry, Maddie, you're wrong.
Yeah, no, but where's the other one? Bring on the other one. There's one there that's, I think it was one of the girls, and they went way, way out there.
Yeah, I'm getting through them.
There's a lot.
Well, keep going, mate.
There's a
and then
lot.
we'll.
Never had I wanted to yell at a podcast more than this episode. Oh, Maddie, you should know better. That was Sarah Bell again.
Now, I think it was Sarah that maybe on one of the other socials was the one that said, like, you almost lost a listener. That was the one I was trying to, prod you to actually.
Can I
read
just
out.
add
That could have been.
there is plenty of likes on all these comments as well. So
I was waiting for you to get to them all so we could address it, but no, I was waiting for the big one where the person said,
Go
they
on,
almost-
mate,
they
go on.
almost- They almost stopped listening.
go on.
There was one of someone said they almost stopped listening because they were yelling at me through their podcast.
Yeah, to be
listening
honest, that
thing.
was nearly me as well.
It was me in the gym, too.
the thing that really blew my
No,
mind.
I wasn't
there,
telling old mate to get off the weights. I was literally screaming.
To everyone else in the gym, Lincoln's just like, come on! Come on!
This is bullshit!
Tilk heard that! Tilk heard that!
The thing that blew my mind the most is out of all the like loose, disgusting, semi-litigious things we've said in many of our podcasts. That's the thing that almost lost us a
Yeah, mate.
listener.
God, yeah.
That blew my mind.
Sacrilegious, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I'm not even going to lie.
But yeah, I know I did go back, and yeah, I was getting two scenes confused. Because
It's a
obviously
funny way of saying wrong.
Apply cold water to burned area. Shit.
I mean,
Mitch,
like,
you know very well Maddie's never wrong.
like, I was about to say it, but I'm not going to say it now. To spite
Well,
you.
you weren't. That's a huge backpedal.
Mate.
I made my classic mistake of taking a breath in the middle of a sentence.
Blame it on Cooper. That's the way to go.
Well, I was wrong because I got confused because prior to
We
that
know.
scene is when
You've used that word before to try and
Move on,
bail
man.
yourself out. No, keep going.
no, if I'm going to get cut off, just go to the next thing. It's fine, I was wrong. Great.
Sorry, but Sarah Bell wrote a couple of weeks later, I hope you're going to give it to Maddie because he deserved it. So
Look, mate, we don't, like Brendan said, we didn't want to bring this up, but we got that many
Oh, no,
messages
it was
about
the
it.
patrons.
You guys really aren't enjoying yourselves right now.
No, we absolutely are, but I'm just saying,
The
we
boys
wouldn't
were
have...
against this. We were outside, and like, mate, I don't want to do this. He's another Gibson. And I was like, mate,
Yeah.
look,
Respect.
this is what. Yeah. It's like you have to do it. This is what the show is about. So,
God, that was good.
see, this is why I
All the
choose my
listeners-
times to come in.
All the listeners are relieved.
A wrong man can always find a friend. That's fine.
Absolutely. Robert C. Cooper.
Say no more.
I mean, I could refute it, but let's just move on.
Go on.
No, it's fine. I'll just get cut off, so keep going. It's fine.
No, we'll let you talk.
No, just call me Sally
Keep talking.
Fletcher, and I'll sit in the corner here. And
Oh.
Yeah, who else has got something? Reach down into that hairy mailbag.
Oh,
I got one here. I got a Patreon message from Colby Latham,
yeah.
who asks, I assume some of you are probably into soccer. What are your thoughts on how the World Cup plays out?
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Absolutely.
I-
I'm a big fan.
I don't watch any sport, and these four do, and I don't think I could pay them to watch soccer. Like,
No, look,
not a soccer-friendly room.
Mitch's boom mic just went limp.
It's not the only thing
I
that
mean
we
that
in this
in
room
the-
is the mention of soccer.
Yeah. If I'm going to ever get into soccer, it's when my local team, the Brisbane Roar, do love the Roar when they get into a grand final. I love that.
then
Follow their progress.
I'll have been a soccer fan
Follow
for
their
years.
progress, yeah. And World Cup, it's like
Then you
cool.
pull that orange jersey out of your wardrobe that's probably hidden in the back there. so that
Absolutely.
you've got just in case.
Hey, I love wearing
Go
the
to
orange.
Suncorp, sink some schooners, mate.
Let's put it this way. On Saturday night, Australia played their first match of the World Cup. At the same time, my rugby league team were playing just a random round 15 fixture. And I obviously watched that. Like, if I'm going to choose between,
God, yeah.
you know, and I have my
I
soccer
mean, this
friends.
is Australia's last match in the World Cup. Let's be honest.
But mate, but let's
I don't know how it
preface it
works.
this way. I mean, you choose a lot of things. You choose football over a lot of things. If you had a choice between watching a game of soccer and sitting down with your wife and watching another episode of Pretty Little Liars, you're probably going to choose Pretty Little Liars. Aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'm not attracted to four of the people in the Socceroos team.
So I used to play soccer. I played a year of soccer.
Did ya?
Yeah, you did as well. Indoor soccer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
what?
that's futsal, mate.
they call it.
Different.
Well, and yeah, no, I don't
There's
mind.
netball next door.
Yeah, I've also played netball. I don't mind. I don't mind playing the game.
Nah,
But
good call.
it's fun to play. But I mean, watching a game of soccer just reminds me too much of my single days, where I just try hard all day and not score, and it makes for a
all
long.
at the
It
end.
makes for a long night.
Certain games
Story
it's
of my
harder
life, really.
to watch. Certain games it's harder to watch on TV as well. Like I was a season ticket holder for the Brisbane Bullets, which is our local basketball team,
Were they free?
for like 3
They're back.
seasons. No, this was back like before they were went broke the last time. This was like 2006, 2007, and
Right.
then I was there for 3 seasons. I still couldn't tell you a single rule of basketball outside of travel. But I could sit there and watch an entire game and absolutely love it, not knowing what any of the rules were. But then, like, we'd be out at a bar and a game would come on TV and I would fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, I
Oh,
can't.
it's the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
that.
For sure.
I find that actually absolutely about football. I think that's where I struggle with soccer is I don't watch it at home because if I'm sitting at home just by myself watching a lounge room, it's a bit of a struggle for me because I don't know enough about the rules of the game. But
Also, when you're sitting at home by yourself, you're like, "Why am I watching soccer when I could be
Should have
watching
a
porn?"
wank.
We are so in the same wavelength.
when I've been at
damn it,
live
we are.
games, I get soaked into the
Why do you think
atmosphere
my couch is
and
black leather?
I remember, and I remember back in the 06,
Wet wipes.
the 06 World Cup, and Australia were playing at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and the local like coffee shop were putting it on, and I got it. Like my girlfriend at the time, and neither of us were soccer fans. We got up and we took blankets. We were dressed in our PJs and UGG boots. We went down, and the whole suburb was down there outside this big restaurant and cafe, and they had screens in it, and I loved it. Like I got up in the middle of the night to go watch a game, but again, it's all to do with atmosphere. So yeah, I mean, in saying that, go Germany because they're the number 1 ranked team. So that's who I'll back.
I'm going Argentina because when we used to play Super Nintendo, Virtua Soccer, Argentina were always the best. So you'd always go Argentina.
Them in Germany. God,
absolutely. But in Australia, like we're a sporting nation, sporting fanatics. We got so many sports. Like in Europe, it's mainly soccer is the biggest sport. Rugby league, rugby union, AFL is probably the biggest one.
The reason we have to call soccer is because there's like 5 other types of football.
Yeah.
That's why in England they can call soccer football because they haven't got any other bloody football to play. I've got a 5-star Facebook review from one of our Patreon listeners, Tom Byram, who says, I love these guys. The only thing missing is a homophobic douche with a low voice. Well, luckily Lincoln's here today then. You've never met...
Matty was so proud of that.
Lincoln's like...
That's a deep burn.
Lincoln's sitting there minding his own business.
I'm sitting here looking at memes of like
casting couch
memes. Literally memes of casting couch, and you're sitting here going, like, I'll take everything.
Yeah, no, I forgot that you've never met Low Pitch, have you? You never met Low Pitch, Matty.
I've never met Low Pitch,
mate.
And I hope never to meet Low Pitch.
Consider yourself lucky, I can tell you.
Is he here? He's in the building, I've heard.
Douche.
I don't think he is.
I don't think you're. I don't think you've listened to that podcast yet.
It's the last mailbag.
The last mailbag special.
Yeah. See, I'm not. Yeah.
I don't think he's here. It is.
Well, that's the main complaint.
It is the
hate mail.
Absolutely.
It is the first couple of weeks of winter here in Australia, so I'm pretty sure he's got a bit of a husky voice and he can't really talk very well. So I think him coming in would probably really hurt his lungs. So
5-star review on iTunes. Love. This is from Wendy. I say Wendy. Undemil. I love anything Stargate. Aside from the show, this has got to be the next best thing.
Oh, stop it.
How good is that?
That's wow.
Thank you, Wendy.
Still going, guys. Laugh out loud moments every episode, coupled with great commentary. Have any of you read the novels? Maddie, have you read the novels?
No.
Notice how I didn't ask anyone else? Or is that more of a...
Hey, I'm the canon guy. I'm the extra canon guy.
Okay, Mitch, have you read the novels?
No.
Mitch hasn't even seen Atlantis. He ain't read no novels. He made a joke the other day about bringing Richard Kind back, and we laughed.
We threw our heads back and laughed.
I was speaking
We're talking
purely
about Paul
his-
from Spin City.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, the guy
He's
from
in
the
the
movie. They bring him back in Atlantis as a different character.
Have any of you read the novels, or is that more of a
right, yeah.
ain't nobody got time for that thing?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, if there's audiobooks out, Maddie will read them on air, but also... but that's probably as close as I'll get if they come out as a podcast.
That's interesting. Wendy says some of the stuff that you say we never saw again on the telly appears in the books. Anyways, please keep up the great work. It keeps me entertained when I'm at work doing night shift.
Oh, cheers,
Thumbs
Wendy.
up. Thanks, Wendy.
Boom.
Great
Legend.
stuff.
And
Better
we
than doing
will
work.
indeed endeavour to keep up the great work.
And got another 5-star review here from Lizzie Jane from the USA. Of all the Stargate podcasts put on by Australian men, this is definitely my favourite.
That's a niche right there.
Of all these Stargate podcasts, this is definitely one of them.
Of all the podcasts with 2 sets of brothers and another guy, and they all have the same last name, this is the best.
Oh, I love it.
I laugh along with all their antics and look forward to hearing what they'll think about what Cooper is up to. Listen to this. This is good. I signed up for iTunes account and downloaded the program to my laptop just so I could tell them that I wish they'd quiz Reese more often. So I can hear Dr. Jackson tell him his father made him wrong and call him a stupid son of a bitch.
Someone did get a little lazy with the Has Reese been paying attention quizzes.
Look,
he's been ragging it off, so I thought
Lizzie Jane, was it?
Yeah.
Lizzie Jane has gone through more effort in creating an iTunes account just to tell us that more effort than you've done.
Stargate Origins.
I was going to bag you out, but you
Gotcha.
yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that one. Look,
Hang on.
Yeah.
She continues, I love the Star Trek refs. They make my nerdy fangirl heart happy.
Oh, okay,
So guys,
stop talking
you know,
there.
I was actually going to say, well, maybe we should
Maddie
edit
pipes
this,
up
but
here.
That's good. No,
Maddie, you get a box of shame for that.
I'm joking. I added that bit.
Really? Oh.
No.
I
That
do-
was definitely it. Thank you, Lizzie Jane
Thank you, Lizzie.
Legend.
from the USA.
I do have a tweet just on the back of that. I do have a tweet from Romati Boy on Twitter. He says,
One of the originals.
he said, good to see a bit of Star Trek crossover. The Star Trek story was good and the singing. So, you know,
Oh, that was our
What scene?
Fraser.
Oh, the Fraser song.
Baby, I hear the blues are calling.
Salads and
scrambled eggs.
There we go.
I got one here
Mercy.
on Facebook. Kenneth Price has
Kenny.
written to us. He said, I really want Low Pitch to do a commentary on Hathor.
Jesus. That'd have to be a Patreon exclusive or we'd get sued.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the ratings board haven't cleared that yet.
No, we'll chuck it up.
So,
I've also got one from our mate Tyson Johnson,
oh, Tyson.
legend, one of our patrons.
One of the great truckies.
Well-
He says, that moment you're sitting in a repair shop listening to Get Into Gate through your speakers and the guys get the mechanic to start laughing. For your information, mechanics in St. George, Utah are big fans of Low Pitch.
Utah Saints! Utah Saints! I've got a, it's not a review, but it's just a comment here, I think, from James Hibbs. Oh, no, it's Twitter. Sorry, I didn't recognise it was I don't get Twitter. But
Hibbsy.
James Hibbs says, you guys are even making the skippable episodes of SG1 fun to hash out with my real-life friends. Now I've got some awesome, hilarious ideas and big dick bicycle jokes to throw around. That was
Absolutely.
from our
Hashtag
Scorched
Scorched
chat.
Earth.
And I've got a
Great
visual.
call.
I've got a visual one here, so it's kind of just for us in the room. But it's from. I just had to bring it because it's from old mate. And you guys call him Eric, but to me he'll always be Eddie. Mm-hmm. Eddie Fusco, your mother. Lincoln's face.
That was brilliant.
Then he just sent us through a picture of an empty swear jar and a full Star Trek reference jar. And
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty appropriate. But if we institute that, then we've got to bring back the last person to arrive buys breakfast, which we realised would send Mitch into bankruptcy.
Yeah, now that we're recording at night, it
Amen.
wouldn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah. And just a little teaser for, and I hate to promote it, but after episode 2 of the Gibson Brothers podcast, it went up on Patreon.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
No spoilers, I haven't listened yet, okay?
No, it's just Melissa said. Now this is it's a pretty loose friggin' podcast, but Melissa.
it's very like
At the end of it,
as I was saying to Mitch and Brendan before, like I'm almost ashamed of it.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm, like
how
I
good it
said, I'm
is.
trying to
It's
distance
that
myself.
loose.
From, I've never heard the C-bomb drop so much in my life. But Melissa says, "Geez, guys, I was giggling right along with you. Hilarious."
Yeah, Toasty
Like,
is
I don't-
our favourite.
I don't want to
My favourite.
encourage you guys because I'd love to see those
wanna
podcasts.
speak for everyone.
I'd love to see those podcasts just disappear forever. But you know,
See, you wouldn't enjoy listening to our podcast. Easily offended.
if girls like Melissa are loving it, well then keep going, boys.
we
Yeah.
will anyway.
Yeah,
Like-
we didn't expect anyone to listen to it. So the fact that
Yeah.
we've got a couple of
Nor
listeners,
did we expect
Well, I
anyone
mean,
to
it's
like
on
it. We got
Patreon.
some fan art too out of it.
yeah,
by the way.
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
that's right, you did too.
Yeah, from Albin.
It's pretty good considering
Legend.
it's capped at like 20 listeners, so that's
Yeah.
pretty fucking
Yeah.
good when you think about it.
absolutely.
Uh,
Quality, mate, not quantity.
and the last one I wanted to drop before we get to our biggie, the one that you guys so wonderfully and expertly hooked earlier.
Jesus, calm down.
Colby says, do you guys have any podcasts you listen to that you would recommend? I asked because it came to mind just now. One of the other 6 to 8 podcasts I listen to is Australian Blokes, and I'm assuming it's called Plumbing the Death Star.
That's what she said.
Sounds like something we would do.
Sounds like
It's
a
not
sex
us.
move.
That's not us.
So, does anybody, like, I haven't, since we started making podcasts, I've been really slack and haven't actually been listening to a lot of podcasts.
I listened to the
Do you
Gatecast.
guys- Oh, yeah.
The Gatecast archives. Sorry, Mike.
That's right, because they've started relaunching stuff, haven't they?
Welcome to the Stargate archives.
Not even the worst accent we've heard this episode.
All right, let's get to it.
So, Brendan, you wittingly teased earlier in the podcast
Thank you.
that we got some hate mail,
Yeah.
and we're all excited because it's the first bit of hate mail we've ever got.
He's giddy.
Oh,
And-
look,
and-
it's,
like,
look, it's
I-
about
and-
time.
Yeah, look, it is about time.
absolutely.
Like, I would, me personally, I'm happy to have you guys called hate mail. Is it actually hate mail? Is it more so just it's definitely negative compared to the other stuff? And we have said
Critter mail.
Critter mail. Critter mail, sure. Because, like we have said in the past, we do get glowing reviews, and we're very happy, and we thank you guys
yeah.
for that. And we haven't just read out good stuff in the past. We've just been fortunate enough to get good stuff. And we've asked reluctantly at the same time, hey, give us some fun stuff that we can have a bit of fun with. This is actually quite detailed, and it is written as constructive criticism.
Yeah.
But there are, at the same time, there are some stuff that we did take issue with, that we disagreed with, and other stuff that we're like, well, yeah, there's a good point there. So maybe not necessarily hate mail, but maybe let's read it through as a group. Which
Well,
we
should I
haven't
read
done
you this
yet.
line?
Before we start, I just want to ask, out of all the people in the room, we're getting Brendan to read this out. I just want to confirm that that's what we're doing.
Are we sure this is the avenue we're taking?
Why?
I mean, I haven't said anything yet in this podcast, so
Which is why I'm about to just. We want to preface this, and just now, obviously,
Maddie's redacted this.
I've redacted some stuff. Jesus, just because.
What is this, a classified file?
that looks like a Black Ops report to the president.
Because in Brendan's heart of hearts, he wants to be Marty Sheargold. So I was his
Do I want to be
Oh,
Marty
who
Sheargold, or
doesn't?
do I want to be with Marty Sheargold?
Or in.
Yeah.
Well, that's just me. Okay.
Or
fine.
in and around.
Anyone? Look,
I'm happy to take him on myself.
More for me.
Yeah.
That looks like the threat matrix they give to Trump, but they black out the stuff they don't want him to tweet about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, for me, it's like it's the
I'm
first
happy
time.
for you to read it if you want to.
The first
I
time we
was
received
taking a
something
piss,
negative
I don't know.
almost makes me feel like we're legit. I feel like we haven't been legit until we've offended somebody. So I kind of feel like now that we've actually gotten somebody who's like, oh, guys, you've gone a bit too far, I kind of feel like we're a bit more legit now.
Yeah, look, I think there's obviously been some people that have been offended by what we say and do. But to be honest, I actually do appreciate that we've got someone that's actually taken the time to
she's
write
taken
in and
I do
tell
want to
us.
say it's obviously
We've teased it enough, that is.
Yeah. Well, you want to tease it?
Maddie.
Why are you trying to
If you
tease
could
it?
all just shut your fucking mouths for a minute, just for like 10 seconds.
It's getting
I
easier
can
and
get
easier to
this
push your
done.
buttons.
Because now you realise the one thing that gets my goat is being cut off, and it fucking doesn't.
Hey,
Or you
just
cut
get on
everyone
with your
else
story.
Cut me off every day.
we are
Every
five.
chance you get.
We are five.
Every
guys.
episode that we.
You cut me off, buddy.
I think it's 4.5 because I try to be here.
And I was just saying, if you
I
don't like
do
being
enjoy,
cut off,
and I am enjoying the.
don't get married and have kids if you don't like being cut off. As a husband and a father, you never get to finish another sentence.
You know what?
ever.
I'm going to redact all of this. Zoe, I'm on your side.
Oh,
I was begging to be on your side. I'm just saying.
it's on your side.
Well, shall we read?
Can
Yep.
I've got 3 lines here I'd like to read first because we're 5 guys in
Yeah,
the
we're
room.
waiting for you, mate.
Get on with it.
I'm literally going to stab it in a minute. I'm not even joking.
Oh,
It's all surrounded by computers,
that's
and then there's
sexy.
me and my water bottle. God damn it.
I just want to. I know it's new for you guys, but I'd like to take a mature route for once. I just want to say that we appreciate the constructive criticism as much as praise, and I want to say well done to Zoe for presenting clear, concise points and not resorting to calling us names like misogynists. We're not going to attack her for it, nor do we want any of our fans to attack her for it.
No, not at all.
We just want to have a polite adult discussion about it. So here it is.
That's your cue, mate.
Oh,
That's when you start reading.
so we got an email here from Zoe. Hi, guys. I've been listening to your podcast for a few months now and have decided to provide you with some feedback since you keep asking for it in your episodes. I was delighted when I discovered your podcast as I'm a big fan of Stargate. I was also very happy to be listening to fellow Aussies. She's an Aussie. I like to see local initiative. Having listened to your podcasts, I'm wondering how you have a clean rating on iTunes. I'm getting very fed up with the frequent swearing. So frequent that you don't seem to be able to bleep them out, as many are missed. Try listening back to your mailbag special. That was me.
Yeah, Brendan edited that one.
Drunk.
I wasn't drunk. I just thought it'd be funnier.
Tipsy.
Obviously
It
not.
was.
Now, that's the first podcast Mitch has allowed me to edit.
And obviously the last.
Now it's the last.
Yeah.
And look now.
And the first low pitch episode. So.
Give me another
Yeah.
chance, coach. Put me in.
I know there's a lot riding on it, but it's all psychological. Just gotta keep in a positive frame of mind. I also hate the explicit sexual references and constant degrading references to women as bitches. I believe it's more like bitches.
well,
Well, how about we read the whole thing and then we'll go back and
all
we'll...
right, yeah.
It is really starting to spoil my enjoyment of Stargate. What sort of example are you setting for your kids? Okay, no, I got to stop you there.
No.
Nah.
No, because I don't want to have to write notes on this.
I don't want to sit there and pick apart her entire email. I'd rather her let's
we're
read
not
it all in
No,
one
we're
hit.
not picking it apart. We're answering the statements
The
that she's
points.
making.
Okay, I just didn't want to go point for point like that. I wanted to read it all and then have a discussion about it.
Do you think
Do you
we
guys
would-
feel strongly enough?
Absolutely.
Don't cut me off, mate. That's all I ask. What sort of example are you setting for your kids? Do you think they would be proud of you if they listen to these podcasts? Do your wives appreciate the degrading comments? You should try and remember that more than 50% of Stargate fans are women, not juvenile males. But 100% of us are juvenile males.
Absolutely.
I added that bit.
Thank you, Marty.
So, well, I want to touch on this because obviously the explicit thing, I don't know what happened with that, to be honest.
The explicit rating.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, so the way we've done it, I know there's a lot of different ways that you can set up podcasts, but I know when we did it, when I say simplest, I don't mean to make it sound degrading, but the easiest way that I got told to do it, because I sort of learnt by other people that had done it, I didn't read about it or anything like that, was to do it via SoundCloud. You can then apply through iTunes and copy and paste your SoundCloud link, and they say, give us time to listen to it, and we will approve it or disapprove it. And within a couple of, I want to say within a day. Now, we've got our other podcast. We have Get Into Geek, which we're a part of, and that took about 3 days to get approved. Get Into Gate, within a day, it got cleared, and it said clean. Now, we didn't swear. We make an effort not to just come out here and just throw swearing out for the sake of swearing. It comes up in conversation, absolutely. Like, we're just 5 mates just sitting around having a chat, and as we do away from mics that are on record, we throw in swear words. But maybe were we looser in the earlier Gate podcast?
No,
maybe
I'd say we're looser now. I think we were.
Oh,
no,
we're
but I mean,
pretty loose.
no, I just mean
looser
the early
in,
ones
in
were-
the edits. The early ones,
No,
we were we swear a lot, but it was edited more. We bleep. Remember we used to do the hard bleep.
We did bleep now,
we've
but
stopped.
now we drop it. Now I drop
Yeah,
it
we
because I
drop
asked
it.
you guys, and you guys said you didn't like the beep because
Yeah.
if anything, it enforced the fact that we were swearing.
Yeah.
Now the way that I do it, and I do edit, so I can wear any editing problems we have. I do the editing. Is that I actually remove the audio.
Yeah.
And so you might hear that there is. Otherwise, I feel like if you just cut out the sound of the word completely, it sounds like there's your audio, your podcasting
Yeah, it
player
sounds like
has
it's
skipped.
skipping or something,
So there's a
yeah.
little bit of the word in there to let you know that we are dropping a word, but I don't leave enough in there for, say, kids to pick up and go, oh, that was clearly the F word, or that's
Yeah.
clearly the B word, or something.
But I know that I used to, like, when I would listen to it, and if you missed one, or because sometimes what would happen is your edit would, like, revert to the last edit and wouldn't save some of the changes you made. When you'd upload it, I would say, oh, that at 28:46, there's an F-bomb.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't really do that anymore, because if it's funny, I'll leave it in. Like, because sometimes a joke is funnier if
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
there's a
but
swear
I
word
do
in there,
honestly, I
you
do
know,
make a
but-
massive effort to
Yeah.
get everything out. And once I edit the podcast, I've listened to it obviously a bunch of times because I listened to it. You know, like a 40-minute podcast might take me a couple of hours to edit, really. And then once I upload it, I do listen to it in my car driving, as anyone may be listening to us would. And if I pick up on something, I write it down. I immediately make a change and I upload a fresh podcast that is taken out. And when we this sort of point too, I just want to point out this isn't me like answering particularly Zoe's question. This is if any of you out there have been thinking about this, but it's not important enough for you to write in. That's what I'm trying to answer here as well,
Yeah.
because
And
even
we-
you guys have had questions about how I
we
do
did
things.
reply to Zoe about it, and we mentioned that we tried to get the explicit rating, and
Yeah.
we couldn't seem to get it.
That's the
And
main point. When we applied for iTunes, we applied to be explicit.
Yeah,
iTunes
and,
didn't give it
and
to
Zoe
us.
did concede. She said to us in her reply to our reply that if the podcast on iTunes was marked as explicit and she knew what she was getting going in, she'd have far less of an issue with it. She was just unprepared for what she was listening to, which is fair enough, especially if you do put it on like in the car and there's kids in the back seat or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And
Yeah, well, you don't want to
download what
go
think
see
is a
The
clean
Incredibles 2
podcast.
and then a Deadpool joke flies in there. You'd be like, hang on, if I bought a ticket to Deadpool, that'd be fine.
Didn't that happen? There was like, for some kids, maybe it was like Toy Story 3 when it came out, there was like an R-rated trailer that played before it
Yeah, I
or
heard
something
that
like that as a
story.
mistake. Or something.
Yeah.
Didn't someone take their kid to see Sausage Party or something?
Yes, that's right.
What's going on
It's animated. What could go wrong? Here, sit down and watch Rick and Morty.
All right, we'll keep going, Brendan.
Well, no, the point that I wanted to make, that's why I
Oh,
stopped,
yeah, that's right, sorry.
was,
Yeah, well, this is all you and Mitch. You're the fathers in the room.
well, you know, like I'm a big fan of gangster rap, but I'm not going to let my kids listen to that. And if they want to listen to gangster rap when they're older, fine. And if they want to listen to a, by then, 30-year-old show about Stargate, That's up to them.
Yeah, well, our content's not for kids, is it?
No, it's not.
We're 5 adults. It's our content is adult.
And like, obviously, our wives don't listen to this.
Mainly because they don't like Stargate.
They don't
Well,
deal with us anymore.
They get enough of you guys at home.
For me, look, my fiance doesn't listen to the show because she loves Stargate.
She hates me. I know.
Well, no, this is the reason she said to me, I don't agree with your sense of humour. She doesn't have the same sense of humour. So, I mean, she loves Stargate but doesn't listen to the podcast because she doesn't enjoy the podcast. Fine. We're not trying to we're not trying to gain 1 million listeners. You know, we're not trying to
Speak for yourself.
we're not trying to get 100% of the Stargate fandom. You know, we know
we're definitely we know we're
we
a
know
niche.
we're like
Yeah.
0.2, 0.3 of a
Same with
percent.
stand-up comedians.
And
Some
that's
stand-up
fine.
comedians you love, some you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I appreciate the fact that you're worried about our families and our kids and our wives, but quite frankly, in my personal opinion, it's none of your business.
Great call.
Like I'm not trying to be rude, but if you've got an issue with the show, fine, write in and tell us, but don't start talking about our families because it's really not your place.
On a personal
I mean,
perspective.
the best is
Like,
yet to
yeah.
come.
At the end of the day, it's always good to get sort of praise and criticism because it you know that's just the way things go. You never
Yeah.
please 100% of any audience, no matter what. But at the end of the day, when I'm listening to it, you know, because it's been a fair while since I've been in with you guys, and I get to listen to it and all that kind of stuff. I love the fact that it's just the passion is here. And you guys are not sort of putting anything on. You're not trying to swear more than, you know, anything. It's just you get in here and it's the humor is flowing. The naturalism about everything is flowing. And it's just you guys are talking about your passion for it. But it's funny. And I think that's the reason why, you know, the people that listen to this is because it's something that you can listen to it while you're driving, listen to it while you're walking or doing whatever you may be doing. Because there's a lot of banter. There's a lot of passion for the show. You're speaking about the storylines, but also throwing in your own personal sort of jokes as well. And it's just something great to, you know, for whatever we may do, I'm doing. I can switch off and listen to this and have a laugh. And sometimes, like, I'll listen to it at the gym, and I actually sort of might have to change it because I'm laughing too hard. And I think it's great. I think it's great, but. You know, it's not going to please everyone, but it's not like you guys are putting things on. You know, it's not like you guys are trying to swear like this or say this to try and get that extra rile out of anything. It's just
unless you're Brendan.
no, but like you know.
And I'm only trying to get you guys in the room. It's not like I'm not trying to put it on for the audience.
I think that's what
It's
makes it
comedic
so
hyperbole.
great is because it's. I think the cool thing is it's not politically correct. You got it's and that's I think
There's
the
a-
thing
there's
about
a-
Australian
there's
humour is
humour
that
and shock value.
Australian humour is not entirely politically correct, and I think that's what's great about this is because there's such passion for the show, but it's not trying to, you know, not say something just because it might be too over the top. It's like, no, we're going to speak how we would speak if we were sitting on the couch at home.
And it's funny, I would consider
and that's why I
us-
love listening to it.
I would consider us predominantly like a comedy podcast, but it was funny how Mitch took issue not issue, but he was really surprised a few weeks ago, I think it might have been the last mailbag, when someone said they really enjoyed the analysis that we do of an episode, and Mitch was like, we don't do I wouldn't consider us analysis of episodes, so it's like we
I do.
we try and blend the two things, analysis and comedy.
I think that you guys do like a good amount of analysis, and that's the thing is because I've been watching this since before I can remember. My girlfriend asked me, she said, "When did you start watching this?" I said, "I honestly can't remember. My first memory of Stargate was when we lived at the Gold Coast when I was a young kid. It wasn't even double digits, and I remember that." It was the season 1 where Daniel goes to an alternate reality. All of a sudden,
what a great
geez,
episode.
don't bring that up again.
What a
Fuck.
great
Teal'c's
episode.
head pops out of the Jafar helmet.
There, but for the grace of God.
That's it. And I freaked out, and I remember running and telling Mum. She had no idea. She's like, "Oh, that's nice." It's like, but Teal'c's not a bad guy, and he's a bad guy in this one.
He's got hair.
I didn't know what was, but that was my first memory. But I already knew his name. I knew everything about it. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like you guys do break it down. You guys do know what's going on, and you're picking out things that I thought I knew the show, but you guys are picking things. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think
Brendan
when I
and
said-
I, as the hardcore fan, I think we both learnt stuff during the show as we've been.
Oh,
doing
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think when I said we're not an analytical show, I mean the sense that we don't get here like an hour before the show and sit down and like compare like analyst notes and then go, okay, how do we try and make this funny? Like we
Yeah.
don't come in here and go, how are we going to be funny this week? Like I wouldn't go, I don't think that everything we do is like 100% like 10 out of 10.
Oh,
We've
God,
nailed
no.
everything or anything. Like
You
I
don't
don't
want to know what hits the cutting room
Yeah,
floor.
some stuff's 9s.
Yeah, gotcha.
But we try to push up 9.5, 10.
But I wouldn't walk out there and I don't critique anything that I do or that I'm a part of in the way that I don't go, oh, geez, we're funny. I go, we have fun.
Yeah.
Right? So, we're here to have fun. It's like, if you enjoy it, great.
And half the fun is getting a rise out of each other. Like, we all have specific notes for an episode, but when we sit down and hit record, we don't know what the other three people in the room are going to say. And we just bounce off each other and improv.
I think that's the main point. Whether we've got 1 million listeners, whether we've got 5 listeners, or whether we've got our standard fan bases of what we got now, which is around about 6,000 to 8,000 each week.
Oh, more than that.
Well, I'm being modest.
I would have said less, but okay, fair enough.
No,
That's only on SoundCloud, buddy.
about that.
I'll let the stat guys handle it.
Yeah, well, we've got our fingers in a few pies here, mate. Gibson Brothers is bringing in most of this.
I was going to say,
we got 20. We got 20 listeners this week.
But regardless of how many listeners, we started this because we wanted to do this, and we are absolutely stoked that people have jumped on board.
We are shocked. I'm honestly
absolutely. As soon when our episode. I remember when our episode got up to 50 listens, and I'm like, "This is amazing."
Oh, we lost
50
our
people.
mind.
yeah, because we did the
And
math,
only
and
10
we're
of
like,
those were us.
yeah, so we thought we even at max, I know I only listened to it a couple of times. That still doesn't add up to be the total. Like, there's at least one other Muppet out there in the world that's listening to us.
Yeah.
And then they come back next week. So, yeah, we did just want to do this. We were on a giant messenger on Facebook to each other, and we said, oh, what if we all got together and just talked about, like, Reese finally started watching Stargate. We talked about it.
It was a dream.
And it was, yeah.
It was a dream.
It was probably forward-thinking in the sense that we didn't want to get 6, 7, 20 episodes down the track where you were watching it going, oh, why didn't we rather have this conversation on Facebook? We could have had it recording.
Yeah.
We already did another podcast, Get Into Geek, which we still do, reviewing movies and TV shows. But what if we got down the track and go, God, I wish we started that with Stargate. So we just started. We didn't know whether we were going to get over it after 4 weeks. We're now, midway through the 4th season.
Yeah.
And we still love it. Like, we love coming in here talking about Stargate. And, so that's why we did it. It was selfishly, it was for ourselves, and other people jumped on board. And what's great about the Stargate community, and especially when you compare it to what's becoming toxic communities of fans in other sci-fi genres, the way that Star Wars has sort of turned in on itself, and then Star Trek's been doing it for a long time. Yeah. Even though Stargate Origins had its haters and its lovers, it's not like the Stargate community turned inwards and started attacking each other. It's like, oh, you didn't like it? Oh, it sucks for you. Or you loved it? Good on you. We didn't, sort of thing.
Oh, there was that one guy, I remember, who was like, oh, no, we should all say we like it, just even if we don't like it, just so that we get more Stargate.
But I think...
And we're like, nah, mate, you don't
you do make a good point.
Mitch makes a great point there, because I've noticed on forums and stuff people say that quite a bit, and I feel like if Zoe wasn't a Stargate fan, she probably would have just jumped on Twitter and just trashed us.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this is really quite respectful as an email
I
form.
think so too, to directly email us with and lay it all out, not call us names or say we're disgusting or anything like that.
Sort of speaks how the Stargate community all interacts
Exactly,
with each other.
And we probably should point out too, in our reply to her, we did say we will address this later in our mailbag. So it's not like we're just airing dirty laundry without her permission. We did say that we were going to do it in a mailbag. She wrote back to us and was fine with that. So
I appreciate the point of this point of view, because, as we said, this is the first time that someone's written to us and had a difference in the point of view. So for me,
Stargate reference.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So for me, it really did awaken me to the different perspective that some listeners would have, and it made me think of it made me think twice about some things that we do and some things that we don't do, and then I sort of come to the conclusion that. Obviously I will start watching what I say, but not too much, because, as I said, we are a niche market. We're not trying to adhere to everyone, and we are just blokes in a room talking about Stargate. And if you like it, then you like it. But if you don't, that's okay too. Yeah. You don't have to like it. We're not asking you to. And I mean, there's plenty of Stargate podcasts out there. We saw a gap in the market.
Well, we were a bit worried because the official Stargate podcast came on after about a year that we started, and we've realised quickly that there were no threat.
I mean, it was.
Oh, they had one episode there that was, and that's all they had.
Yeah. And I mean, when you're hired by MGM and you're given all their resources and you got access to the actors, it makes sense to just get on there with a couple of mates and talk about it for one episode as well. So.
And look, like we've teased, like, we are recording this in a radio station. A few of us on the show here all of us have worked in radio at some point or another. like I work with actual, I work in radio, but I don't work on the show. I work for people that are actually on the show, the actual
He
announcers.
gets coffees.
Yeah.
Mate, you're the
I started off-
sportsman, don't
I
you?
know that, yeah, but you're right. But I'm
You haven't
not.
gotten coffees in
I'm not there from
years.
all hours.
You're the
of the show.
whammy of the Anchorman.
I am actually. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Anyway, these guys, like, they'll tell you, anyone that works in TV or radio or anything will say, don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Because you run the risk, depending on what type of personality you are, you'll get 100 great comments, one negative one, and you'll only focus on that. That's not necessarily what we're doing. The only reason I was so keen to talk about a lot of the stuff that Zoe is bringing up is because I was worried about the likes of the explicit stuff or the bleeping of swearing before. I'm like, what if someone else out there is asking that? You guys have asked me these questions, or the other one that
they're very valid points that she brings up.
yeah. So it's not like I'm going, oh, we've got one negative email. We need to we need to appease this one person at the risk of everyone else that is at least liked us enough not to write in and ask these sort of things.
If it was one
But
quick little negative tweet or direct message that it was a couple of lines, we'd talk very quickly about it. But there's a lot to
which is
decompact
great
from her email.
And
'Cause
she's
there
obviously
is-
been thinking about it through a lot of episodes.
There is some
so.
more to get to, so maybe we should get to the
All
rest
right,
of it.
well, let's kick on.
So we don't end up doing a 3-hour podcast.
I'm also disappointed that you always seem to bag out the female characters or talk about how hot they are or the size of their tits rather than their roles. Not many comments of how hot male characters are or bagging them out. I understand that Maddie is gay, but it doesn't seem to stop your homophobic comments either. It's a pity Reese is the newbie, otherwise I'd suggest to get rid of him, as he's the biggest offender when it comes to foul language and comments. Now, I will
I'm
stop
gonna
this.
stop you there because I totally agree with getting rid of me. But
Well,
Especially when the alarm
You've
goes
been,
off at like
you've been
4 o'clock
calling
in
for
the
that
morning.
since episode 1.
hang
I've
on.
been trying to leave for weeks.
I want to stop there because
We're
Reese is
auditioning
my
Lincoln as
brother.
his
All right,
replacement.
Reese is my younger brother. And if anyone was going to get kicked off this podcast for foul language, that was me.
yeah,
It definitely would be me.
we are in direct competition with each other.
But in,
I mean,
I think she
But
can
we-
confuse you with me, to be
everyone's seen on
really.
our
Yeah.
Facebook,
Can
we're
we-
up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes to record this, and I think there are days when we'd all just go, when the alarm goes off at 4 o'clock, you go, oh, I don't want to do this.
Where else
podcast
would
Hey,
you
that's
rather-
my
where
life.
else
I
would
work
you
in
rather
Breakfast radio.
be?
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes of my day, every day for the last 10 years, have been off.
You guys want to touch on that, or
but
keep
can we
cracking?
backpedal?
Oh no, there's
Can
definitely
we-
some stuff I need to.
Can we
address.
backpedal a bit?
Are you sure?
Can we backpedal?
I thought we just wanted to read the whole thing and go back.
No,
Can
That's
we
a fair
backpedal
point.
a bit because you did make the start of that that one sentence
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Was,
about the
um,
female characters.
Yeah, I mean, I do talk about how I want to bang the male characters as well. So that's
I think we talk about how hot the male characters are.
Daniel and-
You in particular with Teal'c.
Teal
Oh,
and
Oh,
me.
Yeah.
brother.
We could make a whole
You're
podcast
preaching to the
alone,
choir.
a
And me
lengthy
with-
podcast.
Me
God,
with
yeah.
Daniel when he's in his do-rag, I
Yeah.
would totally go there.
And look, just earlier on in that letter
blue eyes.
about calling the women bitches, we do call the men bitches. I've gone back and
I've called
listened.
Daniel a little bitch several times.
We call all the
I've called
characters.
Teal'c bitch a lot.
How many
Oh,
times have we
heaps.
called Robert C. Cooper a bitch?
Yeah, his mum calls him a bitch.
No, I
But if we could, I mean, there was quite a strong sentence in there that that we as a podcast, and I know definitely you, Maddie, haven't brought up.
No, that you want to get rid of Reese.
Yeah, absolutely. But in there, it blatantly says, "I understand Maddie is gay." Now that's not something that I've ever heard you say, or we've definitely never spoken about it on or off air. I'm just wondering
I
if
think she's confused
All
me
right.
with Maddie there too.
Everybody take a seat, because I got something to say.
absolutely go for it.
Just touching on the stuff, before I get into it, the stuff you touched on about what we talk about with women, I particularly, because I feel like I am the one in the room that's probably the most sensitive to that.
Oh,
And-
God, yeah.
And we've
If-
joked about that because I grew up in a house with 3 women. So I feel like I am the most sensitive to
You
that.
champion the women in this show, absolutely.
I am. Well, we said of the main 4 of us, and Lincoln, when you see it, but the main 4 of us is like I'm the Carter of the group. That's who I am. For me personally, I mean, we've also talked about how my favorite TV shows are, Star Trek Voyager, female lead, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, all this.
Too.
But I don't want to get into like the that joke we made recently.
Yeah.
My father's
My
gay.
father's gay.
All that sort of stuff. For me, our comments on actresses' tits are a social commentary on the unnecessary over-sexualization of female characters.
Yeah, we've
in
said
90s
that
sci-fi.
with Anise.
Yeah, particularly
And you've actually made reference to the director/producers making
Yeah.
reference of that themselves.
Yeah, and
so
there's
it's
7 of
actually
9.
calling out the elephant in the room.
all that stuff. Yeah, it probably appears that we bag more female characters because, as a percentage, there are a lot less of them on the show.
Not
It's a
only
very
that, they're poorly written.
male-dominated sh- Yeah, characters like Anise. And,
Over-sexualized with sort of less of an
Yeah.
essence going
Yeah.
on.
But not much. Like in Hathor, I was like, oh, it's hate to be one of the guys around these guys, and it's not nothing to do with the women. It's just poorly written.
Well, the characters
Yeah.
are actually awesome, and there's so much potential for more than that. And
Death Knell, one of my favorite.
Death
One of
Knell
my
has been
favourite
amazing
episodes.
episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my
Yeah,
favorites.
and honestly, with us in the room, there's no filter with us, so we're going to make disparaging comments about
Yeah.
anyone on the show
So it's down to
that
Mitch,
we feel
really.
the need to.
If they make the cut.
and that was the
Anyone
thing
that we
too.
feel the need to,
There's-
whether they're male or female, we're going to criticise them if that's what we need to. That's what equality is. I'm not going to put on kit gloves and not criticise someone because she's a woman.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of equality. Intentionally not criticising someone of their gender is still sexism to me. So I'm going to criticise someone no matter what's between their legs. As for Zoe's other assumption,
Yeah, like the automatic assumption of something like that. So I was actually sort of feeling there was a lot of respect going on there, but then all of a sudden there's a sudden certain judgment going on of going, okay, now how did she word it exactly?
She said, I understand that
Now
Maddie is gay.
Now she understands that, and
Yeah,
that,
why,
like, with
how?
all due respect, this is the one. Like, yeah, this is the one thing we've gone. Sorry, with all due respect, how do you understand that? How do you come to that conclusion? How do you make that judgment? Because that's probably the part where, as a mate, I go, okay, why do you automatically assume that? Now, like, where is that like assumption coming from?
Yeah,
And
no
what
one's said
difference-
anything
and what
about it.
difference
No one's
does
talked
it
about
And what difference does that make?
Yeah.
You know, for
Yeah.
yeah.
And why is that substance in your argument towards?
Well, because it doesn't seem to stop our homophobic comments.
So in response
But
to that,
to be honest, I might be wrong. Correct me if I am. But if I say I want to suck a dick, that doesn't necessarily make me homophobic.
it's not homophobic. If you said it was disgusting at the thought of sucking a dick,
Yeah.
that would be homophobic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
But I just-
not even. Not
It would
even.
just say that that's not his thing. Like, you could say, do you want a coffee? It's like, well, no, it's not my thing. I don't like that. And that's not to say that you're
Coffee phobic.
Yes, exactly. It's now if to sort of not even name a certain sports star that came out and made homophobic comments on his social media. Now that is homophobic. That's to sort of say
so
that
those-
anyone who thinks or feels that way is automatically bad or something like that.
Well,
Now
not
that
even
is
that. Going to hell.
yeah, that is homophobic. Whereas, as far as I've
Threaten an
listened
atheist
and
with hell.
seen, there
Oh,
is
no.
absolutely nothing of that. And
So, just for the record, I do want to say my sexual preference is not up for discussion.
Thank God. Thank God.
I thought we were going to have another bloody special.
No, what was going on?
I've had my sexuality questioned and was teased all through high school, so it's not something I tolerate in my adult life. If you listen to all of the mailbag, you'll hear the reasons why I sound quite feminine, which I touched on before, growing up in a house with a majority of women. They're all older than me. I don't have to defend it. I've accepted my voice and the way I sound. I don't have to defend it or explain myself.
Oh, you've coined it. High pitch Maddie. Love it.
That's
shit,
it.
yeah.
That's the handle.
The entire team embraces the LGBTQ community, and we all have LGBTQ family and friends in our lives.
Yeah, my brother's gay.
And I said to you guys, if that's a conversation we want to have off air, that's fine, but it's got nothing to
Doesn't
do
matter,
with...
mate.
We don't care.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've never brought it up. You've never brought it up. It doesn't bother us.
It's never been a question.
So
You know?
This probably applies to that, but even a lot of stuff that we are talking about, and with all due respect to you guys, and even to myself, because we get in here, we press record, we know that we can edit whatever we say, regardless of how funny I or you or all of us think something is that we say in the moment. If in the edit I deem it and I go, that doesn't seem right, I will cut it.
Oh, we trust you with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Explicitly.
like I work in broadcasting. If I was editing it for my breakfast show, I would
Yeah.
cut a lot more
You're
out
the
because
one that
it's
has
a different
to sit
audience.
down in a seminar every year and hear what the broadcast standards
What you're not allowed to
and
do,
what you
yeah.
are and aren't allowed to say.
So-
that's why we trust you to edit it.
And like you said, we've all got family, we're friends. Like it's such a weird thing we have to and not even in relation to this email, but just when you have to explain certain things in this context. Oh well, someone in my family's gay, so I'm okay with it. Like to even talk about it being a thing and it's okay. It makes me honestly it makes me feel itchy. Like it's just like why
Yeah,
are we
'cause
even why are we trying to normalize a normal thing that itself makes it seem unnormal? But anyway, like
Yeah, that's why I said I could go on for half an hour talking about it, but I
Yeah.
don't feel the need to defend it.
But
Like,
in
to
saying that,
defend
I'll be honest.
anything we say,
Yeah.
like as I guess you could say the most fluid member of this team, as you know, we got two straight married guys and one guy engaged about to get married. I'm the single bachelor guy. I've never once heard any of the things you guys have ever said hurt, like, or feel homophobic. And the character of Low Pitch is designed that way. He's
it's a satire.
He's a satire. He's comedic hyperbole.
Yeah.
He says, you know, in the same way you go and watch Sarah Silverman or
It's ironic.
what's poor man Sarah Silverman's name?
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer. They say stuff that
Yeah,
you
if
know,
you want to hear vagina jokes,
their whole
go
act
over
is
there.
it's like we're not, as women, we're not supposed to say
Yeah.
these things, but we do. That's the joke.
Yeah.
And
that's
look,
what high pitch is.
one of my
Low pitch is.
one of my favorite comedians is Don Rickles. And if you've ever
Oh, I
seen
love
Don
that
Rickles
man.
perform,
Oh.
he's a roaster. He's a celebrity roaster. He goes out
The original.
and he just roasts everyone. And as he said in his quote is, "I'll roast anyone. I roast the blacks. I roast the whites. I roast the Jews. I roast the gays. I roast everyone." And that's what we're doing. We're not like you said. It's all about equality. If we're paying one out, we're paying them all out. And it's
That's
not
it,
that we're
exactly.
against any of them. It's just that we hold them all to the same esteem, and everyone, no one's barred. We will
That's
attack
it.
everyone.
That's what
Not
equality
attack,
is. Oh, we'll have a go.
we'll have a go.
I mean, if you're going to put yourself out there, you got to be open to criticism as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'd say we criticise each other more than we criticise anyone else.
Oh, look, I guarantee
Go back 30
There
minutes
is-
in this podcast, I dare say.
there is no
if
one
it's
out
staying in
there.
the cut.
There is no one out there that hates us more than we had ourselves
Absolutely.
Oh, when I'm looking at the bottom of an empty Scotch bottle,
every night. Yep.
trust me, I hate me more than my wife does.
But then you
Jesus,
then you
that's
throw it at
heaps.
your kids and you feel better.
Yeah,
But yeah, like,
We're pretty hard on ourselves,
yeah.
and yeah. As we said, Mitch cuts a lot of stuff out, and we've got a very unique sense of humour, and it's not shared by the majority, and that's not who we're trying to broadcast to.
But it just goes to show in the same way that Zoe was offended by some of the things that we said, it goes both ways. Some of the things that she said offended us.
Yeah.
And it was by no means intended by her that way, but it's just,
Yeah.
you know, we all make mistakes. We can all say things.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
know?
you guys, I made it your problem for whatever reason, only because it really affected me. This time last year, I know that over in our Get Into Geek, we were part of the premiere of Wonder Woman here in our town. We live in Brisbane, and we hosted the premiere of that movie. I got down, I hosted it, introduced the film, talked about the movie, and I absolutely did make reference to how beautiful Gal Gadot is. I honestly, after seeing that movie, I was transfixed by her beauty. Like, she's a stunningly beautiful woman, and I thought it had a wonderful performance in the movie. Great movie, loved it, blah, 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 blah. I had a post written about me the next day. It was going to go into the paper the following day after that about how I was this sexist, misogynist, and all I cared about was seeing her ass up on screen and all this other stuff. And again, that was looking at the one bad comment. But for me, I'm like, I'll take anyone saying anything about me that I'm this or I'm that. But if you really say something that is wrong to be, and it's definitely not what I am, I will take point to that. And honestly, that really affected me that day.
You stood up
Honestly,
in front of Captain America and the next Thor movie and said how hot both the Chris's were.
I do it every other movie. I get up there and I go, look at the beefcake.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wish I could be.
Sweaty,
You know what?
sweaty beefcake.
3 weeks before I
Yeah.
did that Wonder Woman, I got up for Baywatch and I said, hey, look at that up there. I said, who's here for The Rock? And everyone, who's here for Zac Efron? I'm like,
Batman v
I'd
Superman,
climb
you
both
and
of
Ben
them like a
Affleck.
tree,
You
right?
and Ben Affleck.
Oh, me, I'd nestle in Ben Affleck's chin all day, right?
Climb you like a tree.
Yeah, right. So I just that for the homophobic stuff or whatever. Like our sister Lincoln and our sister's gay. We love her to absolutely. Would defend her against any comments made against her. So anything I
Does the
feel
same
like
for
is
me.
in the podcast, I would happily say to her sister, absolutely, because I don't deem that to be offensive. And if any of you guys did say something offensive in this room, you'd know in the room that I wasn't happy, but we'd all know that Maddie wasn't happy. And if it was Maddie saying it, he'd know that we weren't happy, and it would not make the fucking cut. I would not let it make the cut. And again, I will wear any editing problems anyone ever has that they deem offensive to a particular group. I don't subscribe to someone being offended on someone else's behalf. I've never understood
oh
that.
mate, you're gonna offend someone.
No, I know that, but I don't.
No, but when someone gets offended
like
on
say-
behalf of someone, they go, "Well, look, the joke or whatever was said is
Oh,
not
yeah.
aimed at this at the particular person getting offended, but they're like, oh, but I'm offended for I can think of who that might relate to, so I'm offended for them. Yeah. No.
One of the
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
you work with, Mitch, who I would consider my sort of radio mentor. He was the reason that I wanted to get into radio. He's the guy that gave me the name High Pitch Matty.
Matty, I'm right here, man. Seriously, bro. We've been through thick and thin.
Sorry, Lincoln. His name's Ash. Something he said probably 10 years ago. He said, you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time.
True.
And that's a mantra I've gone by when it comes to
Yeah, look,
sort of
We
broadcasting
never
stuff,
try.
so,
Being offended is a personal choice.
yeah.
Straight up is.
It's not my fault if you get offended.
Yeah, and if you get offended, you don't have extra rights as a human. There's no extra laws that protect you. You're just offended. Like nothing happens, and you don't get extra shit.
Yeah.
Like you're just offended. That's it.
Would you like to hear some suggestions for improvement?
Absolutely. Always open for that.
Stop playing to the bogan Australian stereotype.
Well, I'll stop you there. I ain't playing
Reese's
nothing.
wheelhouse.
Let's just go with a yes or no, I reckon, with these
I'm not
suggestions.
playing nothing. That's just me. Right?
Yes or no? Stop playing with the Australian bogan stereotype. I don't think it's playing.
Yeah,
for,
we
well,
just-
for me, I don't think the
nothing's being
bogan.
hammed up. This is just the
is us.
that's
Well,
how you're deciding
low
to
pitch
take
is,
it.
but then people have requested him.
But
so-
for me,
Absolutely.
if we
He's a
go out,
character.
if we go out to the trade sites tomorrow morning and hit up the bogan Australian stereotype,
Oh,
man,
mate.
10 out of 10 of them probably wouldn't be Stargate sci-fi fans.
No.
Mate, there's
Absolutely.
So we're
there's
not playing up to that.
there's
Unfortunately, that might be
there's
who
the
we
mechanic
are.
shop in Utah that bloody loves it.
You know what? I stand corrected.
All right, next one.
Try doing a podcast which you discuss an episode without swearing, referring to women as bitches, talking about your dicks, masturbating, or sex, referring to the size of an actress's tits rather than their talent, or making disparaging comments about the female characters in the show.
Well, something Eddie Murphy said in one of his really early stand-up routines, I think it might have been Delirious or Raw. He said when he started doing stand-up when he was like 15, he would do 15 minutes on taking a shit because at 15, that's all he knew in life. He hadn't done anything else.
That's still what we do.
Yeah, you talk what you know about. You make jokes about what you know about.
Yeah, and I have a dick and I masturbate.
3 times a day, apparently.
At
Well,
least.
that was outside the group.
And not to go over old Grant, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I dare say the only times we've, quote, mentioned the actress's tits size
Yeah, that was me, sorry.
was to do with a niece, and we reference it as being, why is
Yeah,
that part
why
of
And
the
you
show?
show and you actually put on the clip the audio commentary
Yeah, saying,
from.
How is
Peter
this even a
Deleuze.
thing? You
Oh,
know?
it was also that Russian chick.
I read the
Yeah,
interview.
I did the one in Watergate, but that was...
That was fair.
Well, that was because also
I wanted
when
to see her boobs.
when she
That
when
was
she
the
was in
reason.
Star Trek in the
was in Star
80s,
Trek,
she did
yeah.
have to have her boobs out.
But it was
and then
still
she
going back to
established-
that.
And then she established herself as quite a strong actress. So suddenly she didn't have to get her boobs out because she was a respected actress.
Like, the joke fell flat. Obviously, I forgot where I was heading with it. And then by the end of it, I'm just like, I'm going to try and get at Maddie. And it made the cut. I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not
Once
one of
again,
those
I
things where that
apologise.
where that kind of
About that.
joke has been in every single podcast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like again, with all due respect, it's when it said try doing an episode without this. It's in every podcast I've listened to. That is not the gag. That nothing is that may have been
Don't say
referenced
gag,
once, maybe twice or whatever.
Maybe,
That
like,
is-
I'd kind of agree with tits. We can, maybe instead of tits, we can have a different word for tits.
That's not the whole
Absolutely.
premise of the show. You may have it every in a
I
couple
mean,
of episodes,
season-
but that is not
Look,
what it's about.
Season nine,
when
Vala
there's
shows a bit
boobs
of-
showing, we'll talk about them.
But that's the thing. Now that Anise is gone, they're not really there anymore. I think that there's like 3 episodes in season 9 when Vala has some serious cleavage going on
Yep.
for no reason. But
Yep.
aside from that, they really don't overly sexualize the show anymore.
And swearing, like, we don't wake up
That's
one day.
life. I'm
Look,
sorry.
this is
Well,
us.
yeah, we get it. We
This
don't
is
honestly.
us.
We don't come in and go, okay, we're going to go really hard on the F-bomb or anything like that. Like, it just honestly, it just happens. And there are moments, honestly, when I'm editing at home and I'm absolutely listening for swear words to cut out. It might be 35 minutes before we drop an F-bomb, but then next week it might be in the cold open. Like, it's just it depends what
With
we're
5
talking
mates
about.
in a room, swearing's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
we're not-
this is
we're-
we're not putting on acts. Like, this is who we are, and we're just
Yeah.
recording what we say to each other.
Yeah.
I like the
it.
next suggestion. Read the SG1 Illustrated Companions, Maddie, if you wouldn't mind.
I rented a friggin' piano. What more do you want?
I had to sit on the piano to make room.
Graham cost $400 or worse.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Have a look at the official Stargate novels.
Well, that,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's
Am I
personal
right, Wendy?
preference.
And we
you
do have
know.
to be
Much reading.
careful as well because we're trying not to spoil things for Reese as well. So,
Yeah.
we've got to be careful of that.
Obviously.
But, I mean, we're doing a podcast once a week.
And the podcasts are reviewed on just the episodes as we
Yeah.
watch them, as we see them, as we
And I
enjoy them.
remember-
That's what
Hey,
it
who
is.
knows? In 5 years' time, after we've done all of SG1, all of Atlantis, all of Universe, maybe we'll go back and do the books.
Absolutely.
But
Oh,
you
yeah,
remember-
this
Mo
is
was the
great.
man.
Do you remember
Atlantis
like
is great.
nearly 12 months ago they came out and they said, you know what, Universe sort of got cut before it had its natural end. They're going to finish it
Yeah.
with a comic book. They're going to finish it with like 2 or 3 issue graphic novel. And I'm
Can't
like,
wait.
hey, can we make this part of the show? And I sent it out to Maddie and Brendan, who've both seen Universe. I said, hey, would you guys like to, if maybe I brought the issue and I gave it to you and you read it and you could review it for the show? And both of you went, nah.
Not
So,
even
like,
if it's
No.
free.
It's not like we're
If you dropped it, if you threw it at my face, didn't you say?
if you dropped it dead at my feet,
think-
maybe.
I think
but-
you said if you threw it in my face at one point.
Yeah.
I think you did. It was funny. All right. Let Maddie talk about Star Trek without using the box of shame.
Absolutely
Well, now
not.
suddenly
That's not
she's
even.
making
No,
a lot of
that's not
sense
even
here.
getting an answer to that
Obviously
one.
not.
what do you mean
Well,
make it a lot of sense?
move
It was
along.
your
That's
idea.
exactly the
The
box of
thing
shame.
is,
Yeah,
The box
that's
of shame
right.
was my idea. As a
and
bit of
I
fun for us to
enjoy
have.
that. That's
Yeah.
fun as hell. And we're seeing the amount of stuff that people are sending in for Maddie to read out.
Yeah.
It
I
seems
was
to be a
shocked.
highly popular thing to do. So again, with all due respect, not a chance.
That's it. Like, I thought maybe we'd get 5 or 6 entries, and that'd be enough for me to get through season 4, and then it'd die. But
Oh, it's getting stronger, mate.
there's the people have
stronger.
contributed there, and I want to honor the creative stuff they've written there. So it's like it's going to be going on for a while.
Soon it'll be suitcase of shame.
Consider getting a woman to contribute to your podcast, even if they are just occasional guests. Well, that's what Lincoln's for.
Yeah, obviously.
He's the ladies' man, so
It
that's...
is so good to see you guys.
Welcome back, mate.
I took a bit of an issue with this. I find the idea of getting a token, quote unquote token woman, I find that extremely condescending to women.
Yeah.
For me, and this is getting into my philosophical side, but for me, thought and idea transcend gender. If you need if Zoe wants a female point of view, contribute. Zoe, send us stuff in. Send in thoughts.
God, yeah.
Pre-watch,
one of our
pre-watch episodes.
our top 4 and 5 contributors are female.
I've got here some of
Yeah.
our biggest list of contributors: Ashley O, Sarah Bell, Holly from Lonnie, Melissa Alba. We've got 2
Toasty.
Sarahs. We've got Sarah H, who's at Fat Nerd Fit, and she's also a Gate World writer.
Yeah.
They all contribute. So Zoe,
And
by all means,
Jana Cox as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
Jana. Zoe, if you wanna contribute, pre-watch an episode and send in your thoughts for it, or send us something for the hairy mailbag, or maybe we'll just call it the mailbag. We did in one of our Patreon Q&A videos. We did one of the listeners was asking sort of what our hobbies are and that sort of stuff, and we had to point out that this is our hobby. This is what we do. This is
Yeah.
a couple of mates getting together, and then the 2 Gibson brothers. A couple of mates
No,
getting
we're not mates.
together, just having a laugh, hanging out, having a bit of fun, getting away from the family and the stresses of
God,
work and
yes.
stuff like that, and just having some fun.
And I would
said
say-
that to the girlfriend. I said, she goes, you know what, Dale, I love that. You hear, she goes, oh, I know a couple of lads, they live to go do this and like go out in the weekends, just get absolutely blind, lose all their money and do this and do that.
I've all been
and she
there.
goes, oh yeah. She goes, but you love to go with your brother and your mates, and you love Stargate so much, and you love to listen to their podcast, and you love to go talk about it. I love that. You know what? You're just enjoying that. And I was like,
yeah.
I wonder what she's going to say tonight when you come home blind, drunk, with no money.
with zero money,
At 2
only
in the
a
morning.
$5 chip from the casino.
No shirt.
and lipstick on. But what I'm actually
You
really
just go in and
looking
go,
forward to-
Sorry to cut you off too, Mitch.
And something
was a hard
that I'd like
podcast.
to do as well is Reese mentioned to us actually as we've been getting him into Stargate, he's actually gotten his fiance into a bit of Stargate. She seems to be a bit
She
of a
liked it
fan.
before, didn't she?
Yeah.
So, and we're not going to push her and say, oh, come in because she's a chick and she can listen, but
She actually got her hair cut like Carter. No, she's
love
had that
that.
for ages. She's had that for ages.
but you know what? If Ash decided in 6 or 8 months' time she wanted to come in and talk about it with us,
No.
come on in.
Yeah, no, that's not allowed.
But
I'll tell you that right now.
but it's like I'm not gonna drag a chick in here that
Well,
to talk about Stargate if they don't want to talk about.
For
Stargate.
me, I for me, I couldn't. If you say, hey, we've got 4 guys, we need a girl who's a hardcore Stargate fan, I couldn't give you one. I honestly don't know. My wife's not into it. She used to watch it. Her brothers used to watch it, but that's 15 years ago as well, you know.
Plus, someone's got to look after the kids while you're here. So.
Well, there's that too. But Lincoln, like his girlfriend's watching some, but he'd be in the same boat as me, I imagine, because we know the same people. Brendan and Reese, I don't know. Like Gundy Head, name the person now you bring in a female hardcore Stargate fan.
Oh,
Anise. That's a gun to my head. I panic.
Like I know, Brendan, your wife has watched a lot of it with you, but does she want to come in and talk about it for 50 minutes about
like
one
a lot
episode?
of all of my ex-girlfriends could come in. They wouldn't. They won't want to.
And your wife would want that.
Yeah.
No, obviously not.
Hey, if we were doing
Or maybe she would.
She doesn't listen. She won't know.
It's a prerequisite to date me. Is you got to watch 3 seasons of SG1.
Let me know what you think.
And then
Seasons 4, 5, and 7. If we were going to do a Star Wars podcast, I would bring my 20-year-old niece in here, and she would school a lot of you on Star Wars, like knowledge.
Yeah,
like
that's
she
cool.
blows my mind. how
oh,
much
since
she knows
the
about
new one's come out, I'm falling off the wagon with knowledge in terms of knowledge.
But she's like, you know that scene from Deadpool where Miranda Baccarin, where he goes, oh, "Did you just quote Star Wars?" And she's like, "Empire."
Yeah.
That's my niece. That's the kind of stuff my niece says. Like she's that. Into
I felt
Star
that
Wars.
was forced, that line, but I appreciate it.
So is that it?
He's hoping for improvement and more talking about Stargate. Zoe.
That's all we do.
P.S. Have just listened to episodes 71, 72, and 73. Actually managed to have some good discussions around the science of Stargates and character development in episodes 71 and 72, but there was still too much swearing and blue comments. The first part of 73 was very good. You managed some intelligent discussion around the episode, and not to mention the size of an actress' tits until 15 minutes in. Thank you.
Look,
Swearing in blue language was also at a minimum until Maddie wanted to talk about Star Trek. Then you completely went off track and resorted to foul language and comments. I didn't bother listening to the end of the episode after that, which is a shame because that's when Holly Monnery jumped on and gave us one of the absolute great boxes of shame, where she said that I should be sucking Maddie's dick while he's watching Fifth Commandment.
Yeah.
And what else was happening? There's something else.
God.
And
I cried myself to
Maddie,
sleep that
Michael
night.
Bay was that the same one?
Something
I
like
actually
that.
remember where I was when I heard that. I do. Like I remember.
Yeah.
I was actually at the gym in a hotel in Sydney. It was the day before I had to do a lot of different press stuff. And I literally was like, there was only one other guy in the gym, and I remember that I hissed myself laughing, hearing that.
That's so,
So
good.
good.
Where were you when that happened?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, yeah.
I remember, like, there's moments in my life, and a lot of them, I'm like, I remember where I was when I heard this Stargate
Princess
podcast.
dying, 9/11, and then
Holly's
Holly's
box of
body.
I just said the other day I was listening to one of the, and I remember I was driving past Wellington Point Farm while I heard you guys say that.
Oh, Reese's, when I paid Reese out
Yeah,
of
when
his
I paid-
haircut.
yeah.
I haven't listened to what Brendan said for years.
I was going through the roundabout. You know where the roundabout is outside the Wellington. I was driving through that to go straight towards Wellington Point.
Where the
from
BP is.
From Wellington.
I was in a roundabout when I heard Princess Di died.
No way.
Drunk.
The Rothwell roundabout.
On 9/11, I was roundabout drunk.
So that was it, Maddie.
So look, if I can just sum up her letter, it's love the fact that you guys are talking about Stargate, love the fact that you're Aussie, but everything else change it.
Like, I feel bad. We're kind of, she's written what's there, and it feels like we've dissected it.
Oh mate, we're straight up media, current affair.
But
Well, in some ways, isn't that how we approach
Now
the show?
I'll
Because
take offence to that.
the show, like minus credits and stuff, is probably 41 minutes long.
yeah.
And we talk about it for 55 minutes. Like, we
Yeah.
actually talk more about the episode than actual content in the episode anyway, which
Yeah.
is
And
kind
look,
of weird.
we responded to her concerns. We said, look, these are the things that we'll work on. These are the things that are just part of the show and they're not going to change. I did also recommend some other Stargate podcasts to her because there are some other ones out there that we don't want to try and replicate. They're doing their thing, we're doing ours. If she wants something analytical, if she wants a female voice, There's podcasts out there that will be perfect for us. So if she wants to have a listen to those, check them out. We're all part of the big Stargate family.
Oh, God,
so,
yeah.
you know, we're all...
Like I said, we
Stargate now.
We found a gap in the market, and that's where we are. There's
Like,
plenty more out there.
we didn't really think about a market,
No,
to be honest, when we came in here.
Don't.
Yeah, no, that
hate
is
us
an
with that
afterthought.
much. Yeah.
That is an afterthought.
Don't give us that much credit.
Thinking about it now, I am trying to put a bit of professionalism to ourselves.
Yeah, you don't have a desk, mate.
Yeah, you don't.
But thank you, Zoe. Much
Yeah, we
appreciated.
really do appreciate it. So that's the heavy stuff. Hopefully this isn't going to be a 3-hour podcast. We'll see how we go. But just to end things on a little bit of a lighter note, we did post some stuff. Stargate Origins has been renamed as Stargate Origins: Catherine.
Makes no sense.
Catherine's colon.
Well,
If only.
wow.
That tent scene has a whole new meaning
See,
there.
now shitting through the Stargate, we're really knowing about it now.
So it made.
But why wouldn't you name it Langford?
Well, just the idea that they've renamed it, it got us thinking. Well, maybe there's going to be other.
cat.
Maybe it's going to be like a little series of,
Jesus.
Stargate Origins : something. But remember they tried to do it with X-Men. They did X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, didn't they learn from that?
And it was such because they had lined up next to do an X-Men Origins Magneto, and they never did it because X-Men Origins Wolverine was such a flop. So it could be its own little sort of series. But we thought we'd have some fun with some alternate titles.
Don't do prequels. Come on.
And Jesus, did everyone on our Facebook page get involved? There is some
Absolutely.
One thing actually I'm worried if it does branch off and become origins for other random characters, are we still going to have this magic in every episode?
Can only hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Well, aren't they cutting it together to be one long feature film now and putting it out for free everywhere?
Yeah, there's going to be no
Worldwide?
spirals in between.
Stargate Origins,
Unless it's going to be like Star Wars with the Star Wipes, they'll just have the Batman spin in between each. So, wow.
So that was a pretty good post. I was pleasantly surprised about how many people jumped on. Like,
Yeah,
we
and the creativity.
We all kind of threw in a couple, and that's what made our post. But if you want to read a few of those, Reese.
So, a couple of hours. Stargate Origins Amaroka.
Nice.
Stargate Origins Marcello. Stargate Origins, that one guy with the headpiece from the caveman planet.
Oh, I want to see his backstory. Yeah.
Stargate Origins Colonel Backstory and Major Haircut are half brothers.
Imagine redoing.
That's juicy. There's drama there. There's
Absolutely.
drama there.
Imagine redoing Step Brothers with those two.
Stargate Origins, the little girl from Bane's dad.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, we all know the ending to that.
How did he die?
Well, it would have
Perfect.
Obviously, Robert C. Cooper has to write it.
Do you reckon maybe he was hunting? Maybe he was on the case and he was tracking down Seth's little cult.
Yes.
And Seth's people killed him.
Yep.
They
Or maybe
shot him.
Martin's people killed him.
Holy shit.
Nah, Mayborn shot him.
Obviously.
Because he smelled like hot dogs.
Matt Cormack has said Stargate Origins initiate wildfire.
Boom.
Absolutely. He's chucked a bit of Albin fan art up there as well.
That
Really?
album
Yeah.
fan
Classic.
art is one of the best things I've ever seen.
That's solid.
Absolutely.
That
Excellent.
is
Yeah,
red
classic.
hot.
If you haven't seen it, we'll post it
Initiate
on our
wild.
That's something that makes Rambo blush.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to
Dan-
mess with that shit.
Dan Murphy has said Stargate Origins, Jolena.
If only.
Nobody wants
Maybe
that.
her and Marty just see their first date. Her and Marty's first date.
Stephen Roberts says Stargate Origins, Major Davis. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I had that
that'd
one
be
and
riveting.
I cut it.
John Pope.
Blake Gibson, great last name, great bloke. Stargate Origins, Comtrier. Hey, that's something we can all get into.
That backstory would be kind of
I
cool.
feel that's a
I'd
tune we could all
I'd pay
dance to.
subscription to
Yeah.
that.
We talked
Yeah.
about it in Tin Man. It's actually a really dark
Yeah.
story that he tells.
Yeah.
But he's so cheerful about it, you kind of just gloss over it.
Yeah.
Well done, Gibbo.
He also says Stargate Origins, Matif.
Yeah. God, yes.
That'll be a
Such
tie-in.
big teeth you have. All the better to pleasure with Joel and I.
Now, this is an
True
interesting one.
offense.
Neil Cochran says Stargate Origins, The Ancients. Now, that would...
Oh, wait. No. That makes too much sense. Why would,
And I feel like
MGM won't go for that.
that would
I
be
feel
a
like
real origin
Atlantis
story.
and Universe kind of took care of that.
No, they didn't. They butch
No.
it. Like, they honestly, with
Universe
what,
butchered it.
yeah, with what's painted about the ancients, I feel that
But
you
it's
know,
canon now, so you can't kind of.
yeah, okay.
Oh,
well,
look, we've retconned season one.
Reese hasn't
Hey,
been
let's not
sort of-
pretend that Stargate Origins was worried about canon. They weren't,
All
and then
good
for the last
content.
3 minutes,
Yeah,
they're like,
all good
and
content.
it all wraps up in a teeny little package.
Nagada!
What else?
William Bell says Stargate Origins, Richard Kind, his characters from the original movie and Atlantis just kind of meet up and hang out.
God,
Lucius.
yeah.
Lucius and the unnamed doctor.
Yes.
Now, Maddie's favourite, Bobby Reedy.
Bobby.
Sorry, let go with Bobby. I have a question about Richard Kind.
Bobby Reedy says Stargate Origins, the toilet planet.
Oh, I was about to say,
God,
oh
yeah.
shit, but that's not
That
right.
was the planet
Oh,
where we
shit.
poo into.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
What? That'd be so
Imagine that you
awesome.
walk through and
Yeah.
just, what the? What is this
Like,
shit?
let's go
Lincoln-
full hazmat suit into that planet. But let's really
Lincoln
see what
could
they've got.
finally, it'd be like, and I hate to bring it up, but it'd be like that episode of Rick and Morty where they have all their negative things separated from
Oh, yeah.
themselves, and they're just in that
Yeah.
horrible
Poop.
gooey world.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually an episode of Family Guy where Stewie invents this device which can take him to different realities. And, well, probably they stole the idea from Stargate, but there is one where everything is so futuristic technology wise that Brian needs to go to the toilet. He's like, "Do you need to do one or two?" Stewie said to him. He goes, "On number two." And he goes, "Oh, poop removal," and then also he's like, "Did my poop
Poop removed.
Yeah, he goes, "Did that just go away?" He's like, "Yep, it's in another dimension." All of a sudden, later on in the episode, they're stuck in one. He's like, "Oh, look, there's your poo," and like he's stuck in some ice, and that's where his shit is. And I want to know what that would look like. What does the shit
Absolutely.
dimension look like?
Lisa Ford says Stargate Origins, the hippies from 1969.
Yes.
Oh, Michael.
I've wondered what happened to
A
them.
lot of drugs in that one.
I
I
know
bet.
she said
He
Michael
died.
got drafted. I
Did he
know
go
she
Died
was
in
a war-
Vietnam.
But who's to say?
Did
like-
they ever make it to Woodstock?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
Did he go to
him
Vietnam?
and Hammond met up in Vietnam. #, wildfire.
Oh, stop it.
I,
And Brad,
You know what? You know,
Speechless.
I'm like
He's-
blown.
His code
I don't want
name-
to contribute to the rest of the podcast because I'm going to think about this.
His code name
I'm
in
outrunning the script.
was Wildfire.
Wildfire.
He died sacrificing himself for Hammond's. Now, when Hammond needed that code name to initiate Wildfire, it's him honouring his friend.
Our mate Brad Ostron Mull, he's got three of them. Origins, the Maup. Origins, Hammond.
Sorry,
I'm all
Like,
for
it's- no,
Origins the Mount.
You know what
That
it is?
Brilliant.
You know what it is?
It'd be like
it's a Pixar movie. It's like the sequel to Wall-E.
Yes!
M.A.
Remember from the 80s, Johnny Five? Johnny Five is alive!
No.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry, mate.
And
Just get some culture up here, guys.
Origins, Martin Lloyd.
Pass.
No.
Hard pass.
I may take Origins Catherine over that. We'll see
I'll
how we
take
go.
Origins Murray.
I'll take
And-
I'll take Malp over most, actually.
Yeah.
And our original OG, Ashley
Ashley
O.
O.
Ashley OG says Stargate Origins, Dr. Robert Rothman.
I think that was just to get on your nerves.
It absolutely did. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Initiate wildfire.
On his face.
Stargate
His
Origins.
corpse.
She also says Stargate Origins, Simon from Demons.
That's good. And then I did put a little comment there, which I think would be great, is Simon from Demons and Hanno from Korai, both played by the same actor.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
Those two together.
How do you keep getting work?
Wait for it. This is how he gets work right here. They'll do it Hawaii 5-0 style. Book 'em, Hanno.
I can see it.
Right?
See, all of these suggestions have got
And it's,
different genres. It's fantastic.
It's what's his name? Jimmy Fallon. In the back.
Wait, give us that laugh again. So it's like, book him, Hanno.
That's the greatest thing. That's the greatest show ever.
Oh my God, this is so
Unbelievable.
How am I still in the air? This is so funny.
Oh, I can't stand that guy. I really can't.
Mate,
I really can't.
don't even get me started.
So that's about the end of the hair and mailbag, guys.
I think it might be
There's
our
nothing in the bottom.
biggest mailbag ever. That was
That was
a
a
long one.
huge
Oh, it's
mailbag.
full of hate.
That
Of course
an
it was
effort.
big.
I mean, when there's 5 guys in the room, of course it's going to take longer. But
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it will.
Circle,
Yeah.
circle
We need
jerk.
Link in here to work it with us.
yeah, I mean, Link's
I
over
need
there
to
working
work-
his lightsaber. so-
Yeah.
So I want to end this podcast with a clip from a 2015 con in Perth where we have Michael Shanks talking about the Zatnik Tel.
I refuse to carry a Zat. I will say this. Because they actually put it as a sidearm for us at certain points, and I refused to because I thought it was the dumbest weapon ever invented by sci-fi. First of all, and you have to understand this, you only see it when it's like, shooting out at CGI rays and stuff like that. If you see it in reality, as you see some of the people walking around with the replicas, it's a penis.
Thank you, Shanksy.
The voice of reason. Who'd have thought?
And the practical effect of this was where you'd squeeze the trigger and the little thing would go. And you probably never even noticed it. Like, it was such a small, subtle effect. You probably never even noticed it. We could have just shaken the damn thing, and nobody ever got close to watch it go. So
You can tell half the crowd's like, shut up, it's awesome.
Shut up, we love them.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Was not at all appealing to me in the least. And the second part, and I have to say this, and this is why it's the dumbest weapon.
Thank you, Shanksy.
One-shot stuns, 2 kills, 3 makes it disappear.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
It's a show where instantaneous gate travel to other worlds.
after you've been stunned,
It's okay.
Fucking shit.
Just breathe.
and an hour
Just breathe,
later
please.
you go swimming, and they shoot you one more time, are you stunned again? Or are you f***ing dead?
That was Maddie's
I had
argument.
the same
Because
question. very early.
after you get stunned 3 times, shouldn't you disappear?
Disintegrate.
What's the delay on that one? I wasn't sure.
So he kind of brought up a couple of things that we've talked about, especially
Penises,
the
obviously.
penis, big fat knob that I've said it was,
On the end of it. Yeah.
and then Maddie's argument about the triple. When are you stunned and when are you dead?
Yeah.
To be fair, I was 14 when I thought of that, so It's,
Shanksy's holding on to it
yeah, he's
tightly.
holding on to it. I mean, he was a grown man when the show started. Fair
I mean,
enough.
yeah, they don't ever specify it, but like him going, oh, if an hour later you get shot, are you dead? I'm like, for me, I'm like, easy
No.
answer, no,
No,
not at all.
of course not.
No.
Even if I shoot you once, wait 30 seconds, shoot you again, I'm just stunning you
Does
twice.
it wear off?
When
So
you
I
wake
guess
up.
it's like a trank dart,
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy is kind of dispersed. It's not
Mark
still
there if
making
you
its
wanna
way
use
around.
Unless
not
you're,
today.
unless you're Doc Fraser and you give her enough sedative to take down an elephant.
Yeah, God, yeah.
That's the supercharged that
Yeah.
Fraser has.
We'll get to that in a couple of weeks.
And the best part about all this, especially for us doing a much longer show today,
you've
is
gotta
that
edit
we
it?
still have to come back here on the weekend and do our next Get Into Gate
I'm so
podcast.
sick of you guys.
That's fine. We're talking about Tangent, mate. It's fine. It's a good episode.
Nice. Oh, that'll write itself.
So that'll be up over the weekend. Tangent. In the meantime, if you want to contribute to the now empty Harry mailbag,
It's a little limp now.
please
I,
write in Get Into
Just
Gate.
soft and squishy and empty.
And look, starting next week, guys, it's back. Time to find out if Reese has been paying attention. Back by popular demand.
Study up, buddy.
Lucky you told me because I'm going to go do research.
Yeah.
Not only Bobby, obviously, we had...
Yeah, and last mailbag, someone asked about it as well. Was it Melissa asked about it, about the Harry mailbag?
So it's coming back is the trivia.
So if you want to contribute to the Harry mailbag, getintogate@gmail.com. Hit us up on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast. Or you can check out all of our old podcasts. Just simply search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast, and all your podcasting channels. That's where you can find that there. You can also jump onto patreon.com/Get Into Gate, contribute to the show, but more importantly, join the show, be part of the show, as many people we heard from today in the Harry mailbag, they're part of our Patreon family. Otherwise, you can check us out individually, Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Come talk some gates. Maddie, where you at?
At High Pitch, Maddie, on the things.
On the things again. Okay. Brendan?
Just changing it up, guys.
Are you on the things?
Staying fresh and flirty.
I'm at the Bren Gibson on Twitter and Instagram.
And I, Reese, am at the Flying Gibson.
And on all the things, Link_Lewis. There you go.
I'm going to change my Instagram handle to be on all the things. So then Lincoln's on all the things. No, and then I'm the things, and then you're on me. That was the
I
joke.
thought that was going to be a Chewy thing.
GetIntoGeek.com.